My name is Yonis. I'm a third-year biochem student here at Newcastle Uni. I'm kind of involved with the Comedy Society here, and we've been doing stand-up for like about a year and a half now.
Okay. So had you done any stand-up, had you done any comedy before you came here to uni, or is it?
No. This was when I started, because in first year I didn't even know the society existed, and then in second year I went to their fresher show and I was like, okay, this sounds like a lot of fun. And I went to one of their sessions, people were standing up and talking, I was being obnoxiously loud, and I thought, you know what, I can do this, I can get up on stage. And yeah, here I am just doing like stand-up around, which is quite fun.
So what's like a comedy society meeting like? Like what do you actually do? Do you just perform, or is it sort of,
well,
how does it work?
It depends, because we have 3 sessions that we run a week. There's obviously stand-up, we do improv and sketch as well. In a stand-up session, usually it just starts off with, we just sit around, like have a chat for a bit, and then if people have come up with new material that they want to go through and like have help, like either kind of working on the structure of it or like how to make sure that it's ready for an audience, we just go through that and the basis of that, and then just keep going with that. And a new thing that we started doing this year is if you're familiar with Mock the Week, there's the scenes we'd like to see that they do, and we have a few of those suggestions, and we kind of round those up over the week and then perform them at the end, just to like help with like getting the creative juices out and being able to come up with funny things to say. Yeah.
So in sort of terms of that, do you like working with other people? In terms of like, do you like sort of panel stuff, or is that harder than just standing up by yourself? Because obviously at the stand when we saw you were just by yourself.
Yeah.
Do you have one that you find like, do you like bouncing off people, or is that harder?
I do quite enjoy having like a group of people of us talking. We do that quite a bit because we started doing the radio this year as well. So there is quite a bit of us like just sitting around and I probably should try not to swear, but like just
you can, don't worry.
Oh, okay, brilliant. Just us chatting a lot of shit in one room. But like, I don't know, personally, I don't know if it's because I'm an egotist, but being up on stage on my own to like try and make people laugh is also like something that I really like doing.
I was gonna say, like, I was really surprised because they said that was when you performed, when we saw you, they said that was your first performance, or at least at the stand. And you seemed really confident. You were actually one of the most confident people there. So yeah, it was cool.
Oh, thanks.
So, okay, a bit more personal question about you. Something that you said that really sort of got to me was, you said that you're Norwegian, but people tell you that you're American. Or
yeah.
Refuse to believe. Why do you think that is? Like,
because the thing is, I was born in Norway, but I didn't learn English in Norway. My family moved to Egypt when I was about 6 or 7, and we ended up learning English there. And the way you learn English there is like, it's Americanized. So when I came here, I've spent like 10 years of my life now trying to convince people that I'm not American and not being able to drop the accent. So yeah, unless I take out my passport and show people like, trust me, I'm Norwegian, they don't believe me.
Yeah. So what kind of things like mostly do you do your comedy on, like?
Well,
so what kind of things?
Yeah, there's I've got like a few bits that I go back to that I really like doing. One of them is obviously complaining about what British people do, which is sort of just kind of like a decade's worth of things that I've noticed that people do that I've been sort of like, I can't talk about this in public because I am severely outnumbered when it comes to foreigners versus British people. Yeah. And it's just sort of like, I wanted to spin it in a way that's pretty funny. Another thing is complaining about my family. I love them to bits, but sometimes they're a handful. And the last thing is sort of like, recently I bridged into sort of the weird 4 a.m. kind of comedy where you sit down and you think about a topic and it's just like something really, really weird that you for some reason get passionate about. For me, it's Seal, the musician. He made a music video that's entirely based on Batman Forever, and I thought that was such a ludicrous concept that I had to write about it. And like a couple months later, I was standing up on stage and with what was in my hand, basically a love letter to Seal saying, "This is amazing, I love you for doing this, but holy crap, it's weird." And that like, I like the fact that you can bounce between so many things and it's acceptable to talk about on stage. Because if you're passionate enough about something, people will listen, because as trivial as it can be, and they want to stop listening because it's trivial, they can't, because you're that passionate about it, and they're just sort of like, I find it weird that you like this thing so much, so I'm gonna listen to what you have to say. So that's quite fun.
So you're doing biochemistry, right? So what about that kind of thing? You like, obviously, what are you hoping to do with that in terms of?
It switched up, actually. I used to think last year, like, I definitely want to go into research, I want to go into a lab, I want to have, like, funds to be able to help with treatments like cancer and things like that. But the more I got into performance this year, and the more I got into, like, talking, basically an easy way to say that I talk way too much, is science communication. That's one thing that I've kind of set my sights on now, and it's more of like educating and informing people about science in a way that's easy for a layperson to understand, someone who isn't like proficient in the field, and help them to explain what we're doing and things like that. Because at this point, when it comes to science, as important as it is to carry on the cutting edge research that like Newcastle is known for, like, it is equally as important to educate people on stuff that they might not know and would be really, really useful at this point in life.
Does science ever make it into your comedy? Because I have to say that I think I've seen a lot, and science is something that people don't really joke about.
Yeah, one thing that I've wanted to do is to integrate the stuff that I'm doing, like, in science with comedy, but there's two issues with that. One of them is the stuff that I'm doing isn't really inherently funny. It's just sort of like, I can't really go up on stage and just say, haha, cancer, that's hilarious. And the other thing is, like, it's really irrational, but I have this fear that when I go up on stage and do something to do with science, like, there's going to be one really weird heckler that comes up and just says, well, actually, I think you'll find this, this, and that, and corrects me on everything. And so, it's just like, okay, it's either it's not funny, or I say something incorrect and someone's going to blast me for it. And if, like, out of any sort of heckle that I can get, I think that is the worst kind of heckle that could possibly happen.
You've done, we saw you at the Stand, but where else do you perform, or like, or where have you been before?
Well, we, as a society, we perform quite a bit over at the Dun Cow in Jesmond. That's sort of our usual venue where we do a stand-up show once every month. Improv as well, we do quite a bit at the Trent House. We get involved quite a bit with the Chortle Student Comedy Awards, which quite a few big comedians kind of got their name there, because the winner of that gets to perform at the Edinburgh Fringe. Thankfully, we got a show at the Fringe this year, so we get to perform there, go up there and perform for like a good couple of weeks while the Fringe Festival is going on. And I just kind of grab gigs here and there, like performing at balls sometimes, like charity events, things like that, just whenever you... Our mantra is sort of like, wherever you can get experience, just try and be on stage as much as possible, because it really does help, and it kind of eases you into kind of a performance mindset where it's kind of getting on stage, you don't even break a sweat while doing it, so that's quite nice.
So you said, like, you're in your final year. Do you sort of see yourself continuing sort of comedy after you've done it? Because obviously it gets harder once you lose sort of the connection to society and stuff like that. Do you see it as something that you're going to keep doing, or do you think it'll just kind of...
I'm definitely hoping I can keep going with it, because hopefully, anyway, the way I see it, I'm going to be doing a postgraduate degree here anyway, so I'm going to be involved with the society for another year, and even that riding off the back of like doing things like the Fringe Festival and performing at the Student Comedy Festival that happens in Edinburgh every year as well. Being able to do that and like make connections, I'll probably definitely be trying my best to keep in touch with that part of my life and not losing it, because stand-up, it's really useful, because it quite helps as well with just breaking the ice when it comes to doing public speaking and things like that. You're thinking like, if I can get on stage and while I'm trying to make people laugh and make people laugh, then I can go up like in front of academics and explain what my work is to them, because at that point you're cutting off the extra effort of having to be funny when you're up on stage for like just, okay, this is everything that I'm doing, this is all my research, I'm not even trying at this point, I'm not trying to be funny, like I'm just presenting my stuff as it is.